Has found this almost 14-foot gator with a body in its mouth this afternoon. This happened in the Ridgecrest community along 134th Street near Olberton Road. Fox 13's Justin Matthews is out there live for us tonight. And Justin, I know you've been out there all afternoon. You actually spoke to a witness who saw this and went to get help. What did he have to say?
Yeah, it's a terrifying story. The witness I spoke to says he saw this gator in the water, ran to this fire station behind me, not too far. It's only about 400 feet from where he saw that huge alligator.
I was on my way to a job interview, and I was always looking to the lake just, for fish and stuff, and I spotted the gator.
Jamarcus Bullard says he took a good look at it and noticed something was in the gator's mouth.
I noticed it had a body in its mouth, like a lower torso, so once I saw that, I ran straight to the fire department and got them. They confirmed it was the body.
Bullard says seeing something like that is surreal and tragic.
I thought it was fake. It was my first time seeing a gator in real life as well, so I was just like, it was pretty cool, but like once I saw what it had, I was like, is that like a mannequin body? It looked like it was pale and white.
After alerting the fire department, dozens of Pinellas County Sheriff's deputies and FWC officers got to the scene. A huge response along 134th Street North off of Olberton Road in Largo. Skyfox overhead showing a large alligator on the ground. Investigators looking for answers. All of this in close proximity to a Head Start and a Boys and Girls Club.
All I keep thinking about is like all these little kids that go to school right behind me, and they come this way every single day.
Others who live nearby say they've seen some small alligators in the area before, but nothing quite like this. And in a place where there are a lot of pedestrians.
I mean, that it could have been anybody,
It's scary to think about. And Bullard says, with gators around, he's not going to be doing much walking in his neighborhood anymore.
I'm going to get me a bike or start catching a bus to work. Because, they don't have any gates or anything like that. They got small little gates, but somebody died.
Yeah,
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving our praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today I just want to go into this article, that pretty much has to do with the clip I featured. And this is from Yahoo News, and this says, woman's body found in jaws of 13-foot Florida alligator identified. So I'm just going to go into this and a couple other articles, bring out a few scriptures. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. And as you can see, another woman in Florida was attacked by an alligator. And pretty much, just this year alone is, becoming a common thing where you're seeing people, being attacked by alligators in Florida alone. Because you had, 2 other incidences where, 2 other elderly women, were attacked by alligators. So it says a 13-foot alligator has been killed, police say, after it was spotted in Florida with the remains of a woman in its jaws. A witness told local media he saw the alligator in a Largo canal, clutching a lower torso in its mouth. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office said the animal was killed and confirmed the remains of 41-year-old Sabrina Peckham were found in the waterway. An investigation will be determined the circumstances behind the woman's death. Police said deputies were called at 13:50, so at about 1:50 p.m. local time on Friday after a report of a body in the waterway. Jamarcus Bullard said he was walking to a job interview when he spotted the alligator with the it would initially look like a mannequin in its mouth. I noticed it had a body in its mouth, like a lower torso. So once I saw that, I ran straight to the fire department, and he told local broadcaster Fox 13. It was my first time seeing a gator in real life, so I was like, it's pretty cool. But once I saw what it had, I was like, is that like a mannequin? it was pale and white. So obviously, if her body was pale, then her body decomposed, and it's been probably days. But it says it was just clamped onto it and swam backwards it's like it swam backwards to the bottom of the canal. I just couldn't believe it was real, he said in another interview with 10 Tampa Bay. A fundraiser page has been set up for Miss Peckham by her family, who said the woman was living in a homeless camp near the wooded area at the time of her death. Brianna Doris, who said she was the victim's daughter, wrote on Facebook, "It is believed that she may have been walking to or from her campsite near the creek in the dark and the alligator attacked from water. No one deserves to die like this." And said no one deserves it. Well, obviously she did, if she went out that way. Because again, before I keep reading, I'm just going to go ahead and grab it. Because it says it, the book of Job, chapter 4 and verse 7. And it says, "Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous ever cut off?" So pretty much, however people are, however people may die in this current world we're living in is judgment, because none of us, at the end of the day, none of us are innocent. We're all worthy of death. But, the Lord is going to have mercy, on a remnant of his people ultimately. But those that the Lord aren't, protecting, they're going to face, harsh judgment. And, she just happened to go out by being attacked by a very large alligator. And then again, the way it seems, if she was at a homeless camp or she was set up by a wooded area, alligators as well as crocodiles, they'll wait, they're very smart animals, they pay attention. So if they clearly see, whatever it is they're preying on, whatever particular animal, even people, they pick up on patterns. So obviously, they'll wait till the right time, and then strike. So if she was by a creek, and she said she was in a wooded area, so 9 times out of 10, the gator just may have attacked her, But hey, no one ever perishes being innocent, So let's get back to it. It says authorities said the alligator was humanely killed. There's no way to slack you. There is, but overall, how Esau says it, there is no humane way, to kill an animal. Because 9 times out of 10, they may have shot it. There's no telling, because they didn't even have to kill the gator. They could have just relocated it to another area. This is just me personally, because I like animals. But, this is just the society we live in today. And it says, and removed from the waterway before a police dive team recovered the remains of Miss Peckham. News footage shows a huge alligator sprawled beside a road surrounded by police and emergency vehicles. The medical examiner's office is yet to determine the cause of death. Nearby residents said they had seen small alligators in the area before, but not of the size of the animal found in this case. Jennifer Dean told Tampa 10, "It's crazy. My kids walk by there all the time. So it's really scary. I've seen 4 or 5 feet gators, but nothing that big." Ms. Buller added, I'm going to get me a bike or start catching a bus to work." They have made they have small little gates, but somebody died. And pretty much, I'm not going to read any more of that, but, hey, the people that live in Florida should know by now that Florida, as well as, other southern states like, Louisiana, Mississippi, even Texas, they have gators. But primarily in Florida, Florida is the one state that's known to have alligators, all throughout. So even the locals should know this. Not from Michigan. I know there's a lot of alligators, as well as other species of animals, that dwell in that particular state. But, this is just that particular case. Now, I said is, the clip that I featured said it was 14 feet. This article says it's 13 feet. But either way, whichever size it is, this is the size of an above average alligator, because I think, I could be wrong. The average alligator grows anywhere between 10 and 12 feet, so this one was slightly larger. But it also reminds me how, even animals in the old world, were a lot bigger. So just something like this today, it can be astonishing to people, seeing known animals that are normally bigger than what we're used to, So before I bring out the scriptures, I also came across this as well, Even though this is from 2 years ago, I still thought it was interesting. And it says from CNN, it says Mississippi hunters capture longest alligator in state history. It says the huge reptile almost doubled the length of the average alligator harvested in Mississippi in 2021. So like it says, a group of Mississippi hunters have broken the state record for the longest alligator ever captured in the state, with a 14-foot 3-inch reptile weighing over 800 pounds. Hunters Tanner White, Don Woods, Will Thomas, and Joey Clark of Red Antler Processing, a game processing and hunting store, worked together to nab the huge gator. According to an August 26 Facebook post from the company, the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks confirmed in a social media post the 14-footer had broken the state record for longest alligator harvested. The group captured the record-breaking reptile in the West Central Alligator Hunting Zone. According to the department, the 802-pound-and-a-half behemoth also had a belly girth of 66 inches and a tail girth of 46.5 inches. The department said alligators can be found across Mississippi. According to the Wildlife Department's website, hunting the reptiles for sport has been permitted in the state since 2005, with different laws applying for hunting on public and private waters. A total of 776 gators were captured in Mississippi in 2021, the latest year with data publicly available, and the average length of one of those gators was just under 8 feet, around half the length of the Red Antler Processing's record-breaking capture. So yes, I said 10 to 12, 8 to 10 feet, is usually about the size that gators grow. But as you can see, they caught a really large one, 14 feet, and it weighs 800 pounds. And, you can only imagine, a gator that they caught in Florida was probably about this size, or if not just slightly slimmer, But again, people being attacked by animals is going to become, more common in the time to come, because although, you still have people being attacked by animals, it's going to be worse, it's going to be way worse. So I'm just going to go to the scriptures. So real quick, I just wanted to bring out this particular account, about animals attacking. this particular account with Elisha, dealing with, a group of kids. So this is 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 23. And he went up from thence unto Bethel, and and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said, Go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tear 42 children of them. So, so as we know how children can be, Israelite children in particular, they can say some pretty crazy things. Now, pretty much they were mocking, Elisha, because he was bald. But, Elisha turned around and cursed those children in the name of the Lord. 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled them to death, And then, our brother was speaking about this yesterday because, we were talking about bears, because they are some pretty fierce animals, They are. They are very fierce animals, and they're very dangerous, especially when, it's like I said, she-bears. So, usually certain animal species, usually the female is more aggressive than the male, especially if she has, like cubs. So again, those children were killed by 2 bears, It's going to become more and more common in the time to come, That's going to be one of the major judgments that these people get. They're going to be attacked by animals. So I'm going to come to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 15. And I'm going to start at verse 1. And the headline reads, Judgment must come. It says, Then said the Lord unto me, Though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, Whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, Thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. And those are going to be, the various ways that people are going to die. So people are going to, just give up the ghost, because there are going to be apparitions out here as well. Demons may manifest and, bug people out. People are going to be put to death by the sword, whether it be, the gun, people being stabbed, ravished to death, or however, being killed by a weapon in particular. People are going to be, put to death by the sword. People are going to starve to death, in a famine, because the famine is still looming, because right now, as we know, as of, it ended yesterday, but, as just a few days ago, for National Cheeseburger Day, Wendy's and McDonald's were selling their burgers for cheap, when a lot of beef, was recalled because it had E. coli, and I may have said mad cow disease in the last video I mentioned, and I was incorrect about that, so, Slovakia. But a lot of ground beef was recalled because it had, E. coli. And pretty much, these particular fast food chains selling their burgers for $1.50, it's not looking good, because there's no telling what exactly is in that meat, if it really even is meat, So it's verse 3, and it says, And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour. It's like it to devour and to devour and destroy. So pretty much, again, these are the various judgments that people are going to get. People are going to be attacked by animals. It says a 13 or 14 foot alligator attacked a woman, So 9 times out of 10, again, that gator came out of the water, and caught her at the right time. Especially if it happened at night, because alligators, as well as crocodiles, they can see very well at nighttime, So it was probably stalking her, waiting for the right moment and got her. This is just, it's a very, very serious thing. It is, and it's scary because at the same time, the Lord puts the spirit on these animals to do this, which I'm going to bring out in the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39. I'm going to start at verse 28. And it says, "There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance." This is the point. "Teeth of wild beasts, and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word." So yes, pretty much you have these animals pretty much waiting, for their time to pretty much do, the wrath of the Lord, or to inflict the wrath of the Lord upon these particular people, because again, as it's going to become, more and more common, people being attacked by animals. And again, this is just, Florida. Like I said, Florida right now has been, as far as I can recall, it may be more, but as far as, those that I came across, at least 2 or 3 incidences where people were attacked or almost attacked by alligators, So yeah, this is some of the judgment that the Lord is pouring out upon this place, Babylon the Great. So I'm going to come to the book of Wisdom of Solomon. And I'm going to start at "17, Slakia for the pause." This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11 and verse 17, and it says, For thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form, wanted not means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions or unknown wild beasts, full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery vapor or filthy scents, or scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparks out of their eyes, whereof not only the harm might dispatch them at once, but also the terrible sight utterly destroy them. So yes, you also have newly created creatures out here, that are, dwelling in various places, primarily, in the woods, pretty much hiding out, waiting for the Lord to give the word to, afflict his vengeance, upon these people. And then again, that's also going to take place as well. Newly created creatures that are going to, attack people. And it says even the very sight of these particular creatures, people are going to give up the ghost because they're going to look so terrible, these so-called cryptid animals that, some may think are fake are actually real, certain. But, when that time comes, we'll see. And then I'm going to end it on this. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 5 and verse 8. And it says, "There also shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out." And this is the point. "And the wild beasts shall change their places, and minstrels women shall bring forth monsters." So yes, that's also the time that we're in right now, where pretty much wild beasts are Slovakia are coming into the cities more and more, because, Esau Edom doing his deforestation, the animals are pretty much forced to come into, the cities to look for food. Like out here in Detroit, you'll see deers in the hood. Like, I've witnessed this personally. Two years ago, I was coming home from work, and I seen two deers. There's like two or three of them, walking in the middle of the street, and then they ran away. And it's not really common, well, it is now, but before, it wasn't really common to see deers in urban areas. You would normally see them in places that, like are wooded. But this is the time we're in where animals are going to change their places. They're going to go from dwelling in the wild to dwelling in the cities, So before I end this lesson, I just want to go into this one article as well, because I thought it was interesting, because I didn't know this man was still alive. And this is from ABC News, and it says Jimmy Carter makes rare public appearance days before his birthday and 7 months after starting hospice. And then it's the clip.
Plains, Georgia is a town of less than 600 people. It's typically pretty quiet, but today the Peanut Festival brought in a huge crowd and a surprise appearance from former President Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter.
Yes, I've attended before, but this one was more special because in the later years, and Jimmy Carter health, it's best to get there to see him when you can. And it's a blessing to be here because God had blessed us to be around to see a lot of things in life.
Many people that I spoke with today tell me that they could feel the kindness from everyone that attended the parade. The annual Peanut Festival not only highlights Georgia farmers for the cash crop peanuts.
Absolutely wonderful, man. Like just also seeing young people, interested like in agriculture, farming, and peanuts is really like a heartwarming, of course, and of course supporting local Georgia farmers is especially important.
One family started visiting Plains about a year ago and says they fell in love with the community and the Carters.
It was amazing considering that he's in hospice care and he's tough enough to come out here. In my opinion, I think he's one of the toughest men that's ever served as president, and he's my favorite.
I think it's so important for the kids to see just that to me, that's just being good Americans, good humans, and I think President Carter is a great example of that. And so hopefully kids can really learn about him and just kind of see how he grew up and see that they can be anything that they want.
Katie Cheesebro is part of the Peanut Mobile and reflects on the impact of growing peanuts. Many farmers can make a living off of the crop because of the high demand.
I think when you think of peanuts, it's really easy to just think about something that grows in the ground and you eat. But I mean, the amount of people that eat them every day, consume them every day, the amount of people that make a living growing them.
For many, the Peanut Festival just wouldn't be the same without the Carters, so today's appearance made it much more special. Plains, Georgia is a town of less than 600 people. It's typically pretty quiet, but
as you can see, they pretty much escorting him through. Let me see, I'm just going to read it. It says, former President Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind Carter, made a surprise appearance in their Georgia hometown on Saturday, having largely retreated from the spotlight amid health challenges. The Carters went to the Plains Peanut Festival, in what seems to have been their first outing since the announcement 7 months ago that Jimmy Carter would receive hospice care. The couple previously attended two events last year. Beautiful day for President and Mrs. Carter to enjoy a ride through the Plains Peanut Festival, and just a week before he turns 99. So this man was born in 1924, Lord. See, we're betting peanut butter ice cream is on the menu for lunch. Hashtag Jimmy Carter 99. The Carter Center wrote on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, you know, peanut butter is a favorite of Jimmy Carter's. Said at 98, he is both the oldest living and longest lived U.S. president. He will turn 99 on October 1st. So, you know, that I found that interesting, you know, as well, because I didn't know this man was still alive. And as you can see, you know, just look at him, man. Just look at them, both of them. It's ugly. But, you know, as you can clearly see, the E people, they live longer, you know, than Israelites. So I'm just gonna bring out a quick scripture on that, you know, and this will be it. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8 and verse 12, and it says, "Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with him. It's like it shall be well with them that fear Yahweh, which fear before him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not Yahweh." It's like because he feareth not before Yahweh. So, you know, right now the Lord is pretty much letting certain of these Edomites, you know, prolong their life, because this man just may, you know, drop dead soon. And if he does, you know, he's going to go into the spirit world, you know, receive his judgment, and ultimately he's going to come back as a slave. Or if he, you know, lives, you know, he's going to also go through Jacob's trouble, you know, and probably be taken out that way. But who knows? But either way, you know, look forward to seeing him in slavery. But that's pretty much it, you know. Just want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till the next time I say Shalom.